Morning. Welcome to Rome. It's time for free practice 2 ahead of the 4th round of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, the Rome E-Prix. There's a beautiful look at the river that runs through downtown Rome and the Vatican City and all of the iconic venues that are scattered around this wonderful, wonderful city. 8 weeks ago, we were in Mexico City. That was the 3rd round of the championship after the opening doubleheader in Diriyah. Next we go to Monaco, then a doubleheader in Berlin, and then the first of 3 new venues in Jakarta. We're going to Vancouver, we're going to Seoul at the end of the year as well, along with returns to New York City and London as well. So, Antonio Felix da Costa getting psyched, ready for his free practice 2 drive. Nick Cassidy has a bit of catch-up to play after losing out on a lot of track running with a drive shaft problem in free practice 1. Max Günther getting ready to go for Nissan. Helmet going on for Mitch Evans. He's got a lot of work to do in the championship if he wants to catch Eduardo Mortara, who is at the top of the standings after 3 races. 5 points clear of reigning champion Nick de Vries in the Mercedes EQ. Then it's the 2 Porsche drivers, Pascal Wehrlein and Andre Lotterer, the Germans 3rd and 4th. And they're only 2 points clear of Stoffel van Dorn, Verne, Dennis, de Grassi, Freitz, all in the mix as well. Then there is a bit of a 12-point gap back to da Costa and Bird in 10th and 11th position. There is the aforementioned Evans down in 17th place with 1 point. No points yet for Turvey, Sims, Camera, Ticton and Antonio Giovinazzi. So that's the Drivers' Championship points, but as far as the teams are concerned, as you would expect with drivers right up at the top of the order, it is Rocket Venturi who are top. 2 points ahead of Mercedes EQ, and they are 6 points ahead of Tag Heuer Porsche. Then there's a 21-point gap back to DS Techeetah in 4th position. Vision Virgin and 5th. My name is Jack Nichols. Alongside me here in commentary is Dario Franchitti, and this is the Rome E-Prix venue around the Aure district. Dario.
Yeah, 3.38 kilometers, Jack, with 19 turns fitted into that distance. Immediately gets interesting, heading off down the hill through the kink of turn 1. Turn 2 is really about setting up for the braking zone at the bottom of the hill, turn 3. Turn 4, the first corner the drivers will see off the start is very important up the hill. 5, 6 through the kinks, massively bumpy. We saw it again this morning in the braking zone for 7 for the tight left. 9, 10 and 11, quick succession, very bumpy in 12, 13 chicane. We saw some incidents there. The Marconi hairpin with attack mode activation on the outside. Then we have 16, 17, 18 and finally 19 in quick succession. Really a cool track and a lovely location too.
Absolutely, it was very entertaining to watch the cars out on circuit in free practice 1, in which Eduardo Mortara went quickest ahead of Mitch Evans. So those 2 that I was sort of talking about during the championship points at the front of the order. Wehrlein getting ready to go out. I asked his engineer Carl Wilson Clark when I met him just outside the toilets how it had gone, and he said, "Yep, always things to work on. You know, always something to change or always something to get better, but not bad for a first free practice session." So they weren't exactly buzzing with that first session. Wehrlein actually ended up finishing 15th. They have finished Oliver Rowland's car. There wasn't too much damage after a collision with Jean-Eric Verne at the end of the session.
No, we saw Oliver Rowland spending a little bit of time with the stewards as well, so I think it was a discussion. Oliver Rowland was on a race power lap, and Jean-Eric Verne came up behind him on the qualifying power lap, going considerably quicker, and there was a bit of a miscommunication apparently, and Rowland ended up in the wall.
Da Costa, who's got a lot of his family here this weekend, and he is getting ready to head out onto the track. Eduardo Mortara, it's got to get, when you're the championship leader, especially in something as competitive as Formula E, you arrive, you ping at P1 in FP1, that's got to give you a boost.
Yeah, I think it shows that they've done their homework, basically, and what they thought as a pit lane goes green, Yeah, what you thought with the simulations and stuff, it's all transferred onto the racetrack, and that's good. And it means you're in a good rhythm as a driver too, with such a technically difficult track as we have here at Rome.
Right, 30 minutes on the clock. Free practice 2 underway. The last chance for the drivers to get up to speed and the teams to get up to speed before the serious business begins. We've got qualifying later on this afternoon at 12:30, and then we have, sorry, 10:30, I should say.
So,
and then we have the race at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and then same again tomorrow.
Here's the thing, Jack. You're heading out here just now for practice. You've got half an hour to get it all together. You see how close the walls are. After then, practice 2, qualifying starts in an hour and 10 minutes. So you make the slightest mistake, and there's potential you're not only going to miss qualifying, but race this afternoon too. So the risk reward is really incredible in all Formula E race days, but especially today.
Especially when you have to risk so much in qualifying in this series, because I've heard it before with James Collado when he joined with Jaguar. Even Antonio Giovinazzi was telling me in Bahrain a few weeks ago that you think, okay, I'll go out and I'll do a good lap, but I'll take it steady and I'll just get a solid lap. And you're a second away. If you're not on the absolute edge at every single corner, you are nowhere.
No, absolutely right. And then we go to this qualifying format now with group qualifying and then the knockout stages. You've got to do it multiple times. It's not just, oh yeah, I've done one lap, I managed to get one out. You've got to keep doing it, and it puts a lot of pressure on the drivers, and even more pressure, I think, than they were under last season.
There's Oliver Askew coming up into the chicane. We saw Jake Dennis, his teammate, miss that chicane earlier on. I think he was the only driver to do so. Everybody else safely navigated it the whole session. And there is Oliver Rowland back out on track. Not too much damage, and the team were able to fix the car up fairly smartly. Stoffel van Dorn coming down the hill now into turn 3. He's got Sam Bird following him right behind at the moment. And you tend to see this. Some teams, some drivers like to do a bit of running behind the car in front to try and work out the slipstream effect, basically, and how much energy you can save being tucked up behind another car.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a slipstream effect, as you said, Jack, but also, you know, if you're the Jaguar, Sam Bird, you're sort of, okay, where's the Mercedes better than I am? Where have I, where can I gain an advantage? Where do I need to work on the car? And then for this afternoon as well, where is he good? Where is he bad? Where can I, if I'm in this position in the race, where can I pass him? The Mercedes guys, I think they've got to do a bit more race running just to get their energy consumption sorted out for the race this afternoon. Some people will be focusing more on qualifying. Certainly, I think, towards the second half of the session, everybody will, but I think at this point, the Mercedes guys looking at their energy consumption.
27 minutes to go. Bouncing through the curves, bouncing into the corners, bouncing through the corners, bouncing out of the corners. It's not exactly porpoising, but it's bouncy nevertheless as they come down towards the left-hander. Alexander Sims is under investigation for speeding in the pit lane. Keep an eye out on that one, but I don't think it's going to be a particularly, maybe he'll get a reprimand or a fine or something, but it's not going to affect him too much for the course of the day. As Van Dorn turns right up to Piazza JFK. Bird trying to back off to give himself a little bit of space as well. They're both almost backing off into the DS Techeetah that's arriving, but Van Dorn looks like he's setting himself for a bit of a push lap here. He's not at full power, but this might be a race mode push as he comes down the hill now into, back end tries to get away from him as he comes into turn 3, and here's Rowland now coming through the left-hander at the Marconi hairpin. Had a lot of Larry moments anyway, didn't he, even without the contact at the end of the session?
Yeah, he had one of those sessions, didn't he? We saw him, there's a yellow flag at turn 3, down at the bottom of the hill. We saw him into turn 7 as well, I think he actually did brush the wall going into 7.
26 minutes to go. Rowland winding up for a lap. I think he's gone full power, actually, Oliver Rowland. So Rowland goes for a full power run. There's Ian James. Got a nice pillar to lean on now, hasn't he? Oh, and De Vries has gone straight on. And that's up at turn 7, Piazza Gandhi, where he collided with 2 cars last year, and he's just gently reversing back onto the track. And that might affect Rowland, who, as I say, had started a flying lap. He might not have got up there by the point that De Vries was there, to be fair. In fact, he's might have just arrived now, but he's back on his way. Less than 25 minutes to go. Vern quickest at the moment. This is what happened to De Vries.
Interesting. It was actually after the bumps, the big bumps, it just started to lock up the loaded wheel. And you see Oliver Rowland now attacking. Let's get a bit of traffic, but not a problem. Got out of the way.
Yeah, he didn't reach the yellow flag zone when De Vries was off, so this is a full push lap for Rowland.
We talk about trying to sort out the next corner in the sequence, but that was taking it a little bit too far as he breaks for turn 12 this chicane. We had all the problems this morning. Oh, I tell you what, he still leaves nothing on the table, even though he had a couple of incidents there earlier. You see Oliver Askew ahead in the Andretti. Is Askew going to get in the way or get out of the way? Possibly held him up just a little bit. I think Rowland might have had to lift.
Quickest time we saw this morning was a 1:40.0 for Eduardo Mortara. De Grassi's on a quick lap, so I think we're about to jump into the 39s. Rowland coming into the Piazza JFK now, past the Palazzo dei Congressi on his left-hand side. This is where he hit the wall at the final corner in qualifying last year. No such dramas now, and he goes fastest, a 1:40.240, but De Grassi's going a little quicker. Let's have a look at his moment again. Coming into this left-hander of 8. Sort of like, oh no, this is the one, isn't it? This left-hander here.
Wow, that got away from him, didn't it? The back end just not, maybe the diff not quite locked up enough, but around he went.
Jake Dennis. De Grassi did go fastest on a 1:40.163, not quite quicker than we saw earlier on. Dennis is 600ths up after the first sector as he climbs up the hill now towards turn 7 at Piazza Gandhi.
Picking out his line into the braking zone. Looked quite good over the bumps, over the big bumps. You hear a little bit of tyre screech there, but it sounds, and it looks like there's good grip from the Andretti. Through turn 9 and then into 10. Again, this is a section you can't overdo the corner you're in because it puts you offline for the next corner. Out of 11 now, look how bumpy the straight is as it comes up to 12. Did he catch the wall?
It sounded quite crunchy, didn't it?
Yeah, and just looking at the way the car snapped back straight, it almost, I'd love to see the left rear tyre of that car when he comes into pit lane.
Oh.
Yeah, not great through the Marconi hairpin, was he? Bit of oversteer on the way and put him offline.
He is currently 500ths up, and Dennis has said on the radio that his suspension is damaged, so he must have clipped the wall there at the chicane. The steering wheel still looks fairly straight. Comes into the final corner. Was maybe a little left-hand down, actually.
A bit of shake of the head.
And he goes second quickest, 600 slower than De Grassi. His teammate Askew goes 4/10 slower than that. Mortara is on a lap currently. There's Roger Griffiths. So they might have a bit of work to do for Andretti. So let's see whether he hit the wall here into the chicane on the left rear.
On the way out
On the way out.
Oh yes! That's watch his hands. Oh yeah, definitely left hand down.
Yeah. Evans. 3/10 down on Mortara in sector 1, but he's not in full power. Mortara actually has gone a 39.580, so he's jumped right up there, Eduardo Mortara, with comfortably the quickest time at the weekend, quicker than his free practice 1 effort by half a second.
Yeah, that's ominous for the others, isn't it?
De Grassi P2, 1-2 for Rocket Venturi currently.
Mortara just looks, we talked about it earlier, he just looks comfortable now. Just everything's flowing well, he's in a good rhythm.
It's now past the Palazzo dei Congressi.
Another yellow flag in turn 7. Overdid the braking possibly.
Evans across the line. 7th place in race power. James Barkley, team principal of the Jaguar team. And it's Rowland. Rowland off at turn 7.
He is having an adventurous weekend.
Yeah. The sights and the sounds of Rome. Oliver Rowland. Here's what happened. Oh, back end again. It's so loose.
It's like it's not Yeah, you would say that right now it's not, the differential's too open. It's not locking together. Get it too locked and the front of the car will slide, but you see the shake of the head from Dale Baggill.
It's like he's trying to handbrake turn his way around the track, and now he's trying to three-point turn his way out of the runoff area.
You know, and the balance is obviously, Jack, getting the balance, getting the grip level front to rear, working together, and just a little bit too much oversteer, too much backsliding as he approaches the apex of the corner. Stoffel van Dorn looks like he's gone up to full power, as we'll see Antonio Giovinazzi. Hometown race.
Yep. He's not on full power. He's coming up to the yellow flag zone at turn 7 as well. On board we go with Giovinazzi. Not quite his hometown, being from the southeast of Italy, the sort of Puglia region. And I think Roland has just got going again, but he says this is quite close for him as far as racetracks go. Is Vallelunga north or south of here?
Never been.
I think it's sort of a bit west, isn't it? I'll look on the old maps in a minute.
I've never been to Vallelunga, which is a shame.
Really? No
Vallelunga, no Imola.
You've never been to Imola?
I went over to America pretty early. Never been to Spa either.
Yeah, that's an
sad.
outrage.
I want to do the Spa 6 hour.
Okay.
At some point, GT40.
Well, race it.
Yeah.
Not just commentate on it.
There we go.
Here comes Giovinazzi now into the Marconi hairpin.
Busy part of the track right now.
Certainly is. Everybody trying to find a bit of a gap. Van Dorn is on full power, as you said a moment ago. He's 3/10 down after the first 2 sectors, so not exactly setting the world alight, Stoffel van Dorn. Keep an eye on the tower on the left-hand side, and you'll... we've got the running clock actually as well down in the bottom right, so he's got about 20 seconds till he comes across the line. Giovinazzi returns to the pits now. I think a new helmet for this weekend as well. And here's a replay of the Dragon driver bouncing over the bumps.
Yeah, the super slow-mo. Look at that. You can see the yellow marks on the track. That's the plank of wood underneath the car, underneath where the driver's sitting. That's where it's hammered into the ground. Let's hear it. And that was at slow speed. When you turn it up to 250 kilowatts during qualifying, it's quite shocking for the driver, especially when the wheels leave the ground and you're trying to brake.
Vallelunga is quite a way north of Rome, actually. I thought it was sort of on the outskirts, but it's quite a way north. So one of the most southerly race circuits in Italy, this track. Robin Freins is full power, coming down the hill into turn 3. In the inversion, sliding.
Yeah, big slide off the corner. How's his first sector as he gets to it?
He'll hit it just as he comes up the hill.
A bit of traffic in, but look at the Envision car snapping oversteer. There's twice it's done it now in the exit corner.
400s down on Mortara, not too bad. We're on board with him now towards turn 7 at Piazza Gandhi. The iconic stone pine trees lining the track.
And the camera actually blacked out there when it hit the ground so hard. Again, Freins just a little too much oversteer. Come in to have a word with the engineer and just fracture. Oh, that's too much oversteer.
And that is the Roland manoeuvre, but with a little bit more finesse. Well, in fact, I think Roland had more finesse. I think Freins gets back on
was more committed.
Yeah, exactly.
But nice turnaround, got it all back together again. But yeah, definitely coming in having a word with the engineer, saying, I need some more rear grip just at certain points in the corner. As I say, when he put sort of maximum load into the car, the rear just came round.
And that didn't affect that Neo car's lap because he got going again. The difficult part, and when we see drivers do this, well, we're on board with him here. Now, when he floors it here and boots it up and gets going again, when drivers do that in a race, it can ruin their race, can't it?
Yeah, we saw that, I think, New York last year with Alex Lynn. He said, yeah, I spun and I had to get things spun around the right way again, and it took the energy targets all the way over. Energy is so critical in these races that it can be something as small as that, and your race is essentially over.
Nick de Vries goes quickest. 1:39.368 for the reigning champion, the man second in the championship at the moment. This is Alexander Sims and the other Mahindra, who scored his first podium for Mahindra here last season with a second place finish.
Yeah, Sims just came alive, didn't he, with the damp conditions last year.
No, in qualifying, he was mightily impressive.
Mercedes EQ-powered cars, first, second, third, and fourth at the moment.
That's very true. But they have done a full power run fairly early. Cassidy's on a full power run, but is 7/10 down after the first 2 sectors. Sims here goes across the line and up into 6th position. There is the Mahindra team. Verne is about to start a push lap for DS Techeetah. 14 minutes to go. And this is Andre Lotterer.
And just like that, over half the session is gone.
Yeah.
If you haven't got it right by now, you're in a bit of trouble because qualifying's coming up really, really quickly, as is the race this afternoon.
Lotterer's 4/10 down in Sector 1, but he isn't on a full power lap at the moment. Lotterer comes down towards the chicane.
The yellow flag at turn 13 has always hit the wall.
Lotterer
Just misjudged.
into the wall, and he's in big trouble. And has Dennis hit the wall as well? Oh, my apologies, that might be Askew.
He needs to, at this
It's
point,
Askew.
yeah, Lotterer needs to stop because you can see the damage. He just misjudged as he turned to the right, Jack, and just caught the, maybe he's expecting the front of the car to slide a bit more, but it dug in and he clipped the wall. And that chicane again, no margin.
Well, Askew's bumping along as well, so I think they both hit the wall. I think Askew was going to park it, and then as soon as the red flag's out, he thinks, oh, I can get back.
Clipped the right wall on the chicane. Front right is damaged, so session is over. I could try to bring it back, but it's over anyway.
Negative.
And you see that wall is actually tucked in behind the barrier.
Do you think it had potentially moved because Askew had just hit it? So it was in a slightly different place?
That's the excuse I'd be using if I was
good,
Lotterer.
yeah, exactly. Well, we're obviously going to have a look and see if we can see what happened to Askew as well. But Evans then returning to the pit lane. Red flag is out. And we're not going to get a huge amount of running in, you know. They're very efficient, the Italian marshals, in clearing cars. If Askew's back on his way, then that might be a little better. I don't think he's made it back to the pit lane just yet. But Lotterer, they will have to clear, although he is right by a marshal's point. So hopefully it shouldn't take too long, but the clock will continue to run with 12 minutes to go. Here's Askew's radio. No. Cassidy back in the pit lane. Nick de Vries, reigning champion, back in the pit lane as well. Just having a little chat with Albert Lau, his race engineer. And it's rear suspension damage for Oliver Askew. And we didn't play you the radio because he was swearing, so that's what happened there.
Racing driver swearing.
Yeah,
Imagine.
Who would have thought? So Mortara second quickest, De Vries currently fastest. Verline back in the pits. Van Dorn third. Fourth is De Grassi, fifth is Dennis. And there is Lotterer's car. Still just waiting for the track to be clear, and then they can start to move it. They may even be able to sort of push it and shuffle it away. Now Lotterer, in the first practice session, was 7th quickest, so not too bad in FP1, but 16th currently. Oh, and here comes I think it's the front right.
I was going to say. I
think it's the front right for Askew.
Here we go. Let's see if we
Probably
move the wall.
we'll try our best to bring it back out.
Yeah, it's the front right.
It's the front. He did move the wall. He did move the wall.
Yeah, no, he
But not
didn't move the
much.
wall, but he did exactly the same thing within a space of about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm going to tell. If I'm lost, I'm going to say, yeah, the other guy moved the wall.
Yeah.
You can see it, the right front, and just that vibration. So that's going to require right front suspension and probably a steering rack as well, because the shot went through the steering rack. You don't want something like that failing during the race.
But he's managed to get it back to the pit lane, Oliver Askew.
And just looking at the timing screen, Pascal Wehrlein, the winner in Mexico City in the Porsche, is last at the moment. He clearly hasn't got anywhere close to doing a qualifying simulation.
Yeah,
free practice one, he was 15th, so he needs this.
It's 3 seconds from 1st to 21st, and then it's 2 seconds from 21st to 22nd. So he must have only been focusing on race simulations, as you say, and he'll be hoping that the red flag comes in fairly soon. Well, Pascal Wehrlein down there slowest at the moment, race winner last time out and third place man in the championship.
This is where it pays to be Mercedes-Benz or Mercedes EQ, because they're sitting there, they're going to have a clear lap to get out there now, and because of the championship winners of last year, first cars in pit lane, they're going to have a clear track. They can dictate the pace, and whereas the cars at the back of the field, the Dragon, the Neo guys, there's a potential that they're going to have a compromised lap.
Well, Lotterer's car off the circuit at least, and Andre now out of it, just inspecting the damage, trying to work out. I mean, I think that'll be fine for qualifying. I think it's more the track time that Lotterer's losing that'll be the issue. Oliver Askew won't be going out again after this clip with the wall. Here he comes. Just identical to... oh, and he might have hit, and then through came Lotterer. Was it literally the next car?
Wow, it was the next car.
Wow. I think Askew might have then gone into the other side as well, by the sounds of it. It sounded like he maybe hit the wall on the outside too, but well, he is out of the session, Oliver Askew.
Green flag. 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go. You can see them roughing up the brakes on the Mercedes EQ.
Why?
Of Stoffel van Dorn. So he's not happy with the way the brakes are working. When he's pressing the brake pedal, he's not happy probably with the bite. The carbon disc, when he presses the brakes, there's probably a moment where nothing actually happens. He's saying, I need to sharpen up the brakes. I need them to work more when I get on it. I need them to be sharper.
And so why does rubbing a bit of 40 grit on it help?
They're probably glazed.
Okay.
So they're a bit shiny at the moment, and it just roughs them back up again. And a limited amount of brake discs allowed to be used throughout the season. So
7.5 minutes to go.
You know, if it was an unlimited situation, you just change the brake disc if you had time. But obviously, time was 7 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Time very much of the essence at the moment. With 7.5 minutes to go. De Vries quickest, Mortara second. I'm interested to see what the run plan is now. Whether everyone just goes for full power, but also some teams saying that actually full power is the least important. It's your race power quick laps that you need to do, because if you get into the top 4 in your group, the worst you'll start is 8th. So if you get into the top 4 in race power, you're good. And so if you focus too much on your full power running, you might not even make it into the groups to even use the full power, so there was no point in it.
Yeah, and trust me, the car feels a lot different when you're running at 220 kilowatts of power in the qualifying groups as to when you turn up to 250 for the dual section. So yeah, there's a lot of setup changes got to be made, a lot of driving style changes got to be made for the to be quick in both the situations.
Over the timing line, Max Günther dropping down the hill in the Nissan. Jake Dennis is at full power. First sector for Dennis is decent, actually, only 700 slower than Nick De Vries. He's now coming up to the top of the hill at Piazza Gandhi.
Neat and tidy from Jake Dennis, and using all the road as well. Just, the pace was lovely through those turn 7, turn 8.
Past the Coliseo Quadrato.
See how he managed to keep it tight for the first section of corner there to open up the next one. Tight through 10 through and into 11.
8,000th up on De Vries. Nice little lap this coming in from Dennis.
And he's made it through turn 12 without cleaning out the right front, as a bunch of others have done.
He was on a really quick lap in free practice 1 until Roland was in the barriers at the chicane. He was looking like going quickest, but his lap got ruined. So we'll see whether he can get involved in the fight here. Has done the fastest middle sector. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him now, which is the DS to Cheetah, and there's a yellow flag. I think he's gone past the yellow flag zone. Yeah. Here he comes now. into the final corner, out across the line. Dennis goes first. 100th ahead of Nick de Vries. That's encouraging for Dennis because Andretti were a little bit absent maybe in Mexico City, or a lot of it absent. Oh, Da Costa on the edge.
That's not the place you want to lock up in 12-13. No, Andretti guys were not happy with the car at all in Mexico. Every time we saw it on the screen, it looked like it was about to have an accident. They concurred and changed a lot of stuff in how they do things from the simulator to the actual racetrack. But Verne, quickest of anybody.
Yes, this is a good lap from Da Costa. Well, the chicane might have cost him a bit of time. He's 400ths away, but Jean-Eric Verne in the bottom right on the running clock is 2/10ths up on Jake Dennis's time. Sam Bird is 700ths up, so we're getting some quick lap times incoming now. Here comes the DS Techeetah. Da Costa goes 6th fastest, lost half a second. Most of that will have been in the chicane.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad lap. If you're Da Costa, you're thinking, okay, I'm in there, just need not to mess up at the chicane. And he locks up again. That's a no, that was Verne locking up at the chicane, almost identical to his teammate, but quickest of anybody through the first sector and second sector. 3/10ths up on the field.
Less than 4 minutes to go. Here comes Verne. Around the Marconi hairpin, the obelisk there in the middle. They started construction on that in 1938, didn't finish it till 1958. Verne now through the Piazza JFK, out across the line. Surely he's going to go quicker than Jake Dennis here, but by how much is going to be the question. Quarter of a second, 0.275 faster for Jean-Eric Verne. This was Da Costa's lariness at the chicane.
This is bravery, as that thing's locking up and you still turn in. Let's see it from on board.
I thought he was going in the wall there.
He probably did too.
Oh!
Yeah, a bit scary times for Antonio Felix da Costa. We've got another yellow flag at turn 7.
Whoa, Buemi.
Crikey, that was the front lock and then the rear locking.
And where was that? That was at turn 4. There was also a dragon trying to get out of his way, but that was a big moment for Sebastian. As you say, yellow flag at turn 7. Bird went up to 4th quickest on his full power run. Evans is now pushing. He's coming through the first sector, but he might get scuppered by this yellow because it's just at the next corner that he's coming to now.
He's 100th of a second up.
And the yellow's gone. So whoever was there isn't there anymore. So that's worked out for Evans. As you say, 100th up on Jean-Eric Verne at the first sector. Now through 7 at Piazza Gandhi and then past the Colosseo Quadrato.
The Jaguar looks like it's understeering a little bit. The front of the car sliding in qualifying trim just through this section of 8, 9 and 10. See how he deals with the 12 and 13 chicane. Oh, it's perfect.
Evans 2/10ths down after the middle sector on Jean-Eric Verne, but didn't actually do a personal best in the middle sector. As he now comes into the hairpin.
Yeah, the front, again, look how much lock he was putting into the Jag. He had to wait on the front of the car to turn through the middle of the Marconi hairpin.
Da Costa is going again. He's done a first sector. Verline is only 300ths down in sector 1. Buemi's 2/10ths down in sector 1 as he pushes again. Here comes Mitch Evans across the line, 1 minute and 15 to go. Evans goes 5th, fractionally slower than his teammate Sam Bird. So Verne, Dennis, de Vries, Bird, Evans, the top 5. Mortara's been shuffled down to 6th position. 1 minute left on the clock. Here comes Buemi now into the Marconi hairpin. Looping it through the left. Buemi after the middle sector is 4/10ths down, so he'll be lucky if he, well, they'll get into the sort of top 10 here, I'd have thought, but that's about it. Da Costa, Verline is only 1/10th away after the middle sector. Da Costa is 4/10ths away, so he hasn't had a good middle sector. Here comes Buemi now. Back end gives a little bit of a slide, and he goes into 11th place, so he doesn't even manage to make it into the top 10. Da Costa's got a shot at the top 5 here. Oh, back end looks lively. Finally on the power out of 19. Da Costa currently 8th, and he improves up to 6th, 4/10ths adrift of his teammate Jean-Eric Verne, who has out-qualified him in every race so far this season, Jean-Eric Verne. Verline slots into 2nd. Pascal Wehrlein in the Porsche, race winner in Mexico, and that is a satisfied nod from Florian Modlinger. 1 minute 39.0 for Verne. Bird is doing another lap, and he's a quarter of a second down on Jean-Eric Verne after the first 2 sectors.
Bear in mind the tyres are set and pressured to be in their optimum window for that 1 lap, and obviously do multiple laps. The tyres are probably not in their sweet spot anymore, so that's probably why we're seeing the fall off from people like Sam Bird.
Yeah, Bird's actually done personal best in sectors 1 and 2, but is still the same distance away that he was on the whole lap in the first lap. That doesn't make any sense. It makes sense to me. I couldn't really work out how to explain it, so we'll just move on from that. But let's see whether he can improve. He's 5th at the moment, through the final corner at turn 19, out across the line, and he does improve, up to 3rd place, Sam Bird. So finds a little bit of time. Dennis drops down to 4th.
So just ignore what I was saying about the tyres being out of their operating window.
Yeah. Mortara, Gunter goes up into 8th place. There's no one else on a proper quick lap. Tictum and Cassidy are pushing currently, coming through the final sector, but they are quite a way adrift. So Verne is going to end the session fastest, I think.
Yeah, and if you think we saw some oversteer from Da Costa, Buemi was, I think, even more lively through those final series of corners. So there's some work to do in the pit lane just to get the balance of the cars right. Jaguar looks like it's understeering a little bit. The Estachita looks like it's quite balanced though.
Envision look relatively nowhere. 10th and 12th for the Envision team of Freitz and Cassidy, so that's a bit of a surprise. De Grassi struggling a little. He was quite off the pace of his teammate Mortara in free practice 1. The same is true now in free practice 2.
Did De Grassi do a lap later on? His fastest lap it was pretty early in the session.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
So maybe got some traffic or some such.
And there's Oliver Rowland, who's been entertaining us with a pretty interesting session again.
Tictum, only 1/10 slower than Sergio Sede Camera, and well, comfortably quicker than Antonio Giovinazzi, but they look maybe the Neos are a little closer to the Dragons, and actually only 2/10 off Sims and Rowland, so that's a bit more encouraging from them. But look, I think we've got our classic Formula E picture where Estachita, Porsche, Jaguar, Andretti, and the Mercedes powertrains look strong. I think that's what, to me, that's where we're kind of settling into now, right? Is that Mercedes looks strong, Verne, Estachita looks strong, Jaguar looks strong, Dennis looks strong, and those are kind of your front runners. Your front runners are going to come from one of them. Is kind of where I think we're sort of shuffling into.
Yeah, but you can see when a car isn't handling, it's just not. There's not a given. Oh, the car's not very good, therefore they're still 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
When they get the balance right, they're up the top. When they don't, they're on the fringes of the top 15. So you've got to get dot all the I's and cross all the T's.
Bird getting pushed back into the pits. There is Jean-Eric Verne, who ends the session quickest, being pushed back in. As I say, he took the win here in Rome last year. Loves the city, actually staying at a friend's apartment in the city while he's here. No hotel or anything, just staying at a friend's flat. Yeah.
Nice friends. Have to have a word with him. Oh, wow! Giovinazzi found a part of the track you do not want to use.
Goodness me. That was a moment.
Crikey.
About to get pushed back into the garage. You can see all on the left-hand side of the pit lane, the cars waiting for the weighbridge. Some of them heading straight back. But I think we're in for a really, really interesting qualifying session later on today. Qualifying gets underway at 10:30, so less than an hour we will be on air for qualifying. Jean-Eric Verne ends free practice 2 fastest, a 1 minute 39.082, a 10th quicker than Pascal Wehrlein. Bird is 3rd, Dennis 4th, De Vries 5th, Evans, Da Costa, Mortara, Van Dorn and Freitz, the rest of the top 10. You've got Cassidy in 12th place, De Grassi a long way down on his teammate. The Mahindras in 15th and 16th position. Sims ahead of Rowland. And Andre Lotterer, after hitting the wall, not setting a competitive lap time. Look at the Vatican. Beautiful, beautiful place.
Spectacular city, isn't it?
Yeah. And a good lap, and a beautiful lap from Jean-Eric Verne, who immediately goes to have a little chat with the engineers.
I remember this morning he was quickest to the first 2 sectors, and then on his lap, and then there was, I think there was a yellow flag. But he's looking strong this weekend.
And there is Giovinazzi, and yeah, getting a bit of air in that Dragon. He ended it 20th quickest. But what did he hit here, Dario? Was it like a sort of
just a bump, and then is there a manhole cover?
A manhole cover in the middle there?
You can see the raised bit.
Whoa!
I mean, that hurts in the car.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
But that's one of those ones you close your eyes and you open them and you haven't hit the wall, and you don't know how either.
And where that's the run up the hill towards turn 7, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the sort of, I think that was the turn 6 area. Yeah, he'd gone through turn 5, moved a bit over to the right hand side of the track, and you saw what happened. So I wouldn't be trying that if it was one of the other drivers at the first laps of the race.
Jake Dennis straight on the intercom. Da Costa straight into his intercom as well, because they have not got much time before qualifying gets underway. You've got plenty of time to get involved in FanBoost, of course. Head to FIAFormulaE.com/FanBoost or scan the QR code and you get 1 vote per day. So you've only got 1 today, obviously. And you can give your favourite driver power boost in the second half of the race later on. At the moment it's Da Costa at the top. Sims is still up there. Van Dorn, Giovinazzi and Bird now the top 5, with De Vries just outside at the moment. That's how you can get involved. See whether Giovinazzi gets the fan boost for his home race. So free practice 2 for the Rome E-Prix underway. Eduardo Mortara, championship leader and quickest in free practice 1, heading out onto the circuit. Stoffel Van Dorn ended that session 9th quickest. His teammate Nick De Vries, though, up in 5th place, despite this moment at turn 7 in the early stages. Roland got Larry. Big slide coming through the Coliseo Quadrato. Well, someone took the escape road at the chicane there, one of the Jaguars. And there's a look at the bumps. Oh, both of them getting loose. That's Cassidy and Giovinazzi. Roland this time went straight on at turn 7 as the back end tried to break away from him. Mercedes into the pits for a tyre change. Robin Freintz went one better than Roland. And a full 270 spin. Askew hit the wall. That damaged his car. Lotterer did exactly the same thing. That damaged his car, brought out the red flags. We then had 8 minutes to go when the session got underway again. Everybody went for full power. Mitch Evans ended up going 6th quickest. There was a big moment for Sebastian Buemi down at the bottom of the hill at turn 4. Bird finished 3rd quickest, Verline 2nd quickest, but it was Jean-Eric Verne who ended free practice 2 fastest. So Askew with a lot of reflection to do. They'll repair his car ready for qualifying, which will be getting underway in pretty much an hour's time. We'll be on air in 50 minutes. So make sure you join us to see who will take pole position for round 4 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. The Rome E-Prix, Jean-Eric Verne quickest in free practice 2 as he looks to win here for the 2nd year in a row.